Chris Brown, Sexyy, GloRilla, call your name. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About Music Reviews Season 12. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. We're continuing our coverage of the new Chris Brown album, Brown. That's what it's just called. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I've had a lot of experience already with this damn album. I've already stayed up 2 nights listening to it, Stayed up all night listening to it. It's been a fun time. Usually when I review, honestly, I've never reviewed a Chris Brown album on this show. And the reason why I've never really reviewed an album from Chris Brown is because, usually they're like 40 tracks long. And they're also, it's like 30 or 20 songs are just like kind of whatever. There's only like a couple of songs that I actually really, really like. And then, honestly, there's only a couple of songs that are ever worth really talking about. And that's why, you only see me doing like maybe a track review, maybe something like that. I've never really dived into a full Chris Brown album. But, 27 tracks, Morgan Wallen has made me really respect, hour-long albums because, it's a lot better than a 3-hour fucking marathon of songs to get through. So, I've already been through hell with long ass albums and, I've tortured myself pretty much long enough so I can handle, this 27 track album. It's not that bad, to be honest with you, because, I've had a pretty good time with this album. Now, I will save my thoughts till probably Wednesday. Wednesday night, we'll do an album review. But we got Chris Brown, Sexyy, GloRilla, Call Your Name. This track is like the fucking, I don't know, like the Avengers of female rap, I guess you could say. You got Sexyy, you got GloRilla on the same track. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Starting off with the beat. Now, I do like this beat because this beat actually has a lot of switch ups to it. You kind of start out with, the trap soul R&B sound, the guitars coming in, the sample sounds really good. And then you got those cool background vocals that are just kind of, helping out the track, in my opinion. So I'd say this beat's pretty good. And I do like how, when we do get to the rap verses, you do get some switch ups. You get some beat switches, which is something that I guess I kind of forgot, that Chris Brown can really do because, usually his albums, there's not a lot of beat switches. There's actually some, beat switches on this album, which is pretty nice. And the beat switch here, you get more of that trap sound comes in, more of those 808s come in, more of that sample in the background goes a little bit more crazy. Those hi-hats are a little bit more, pronounced on here. So I overall really do enjoy the beat switch on here. The beat switch sounds pretty fucking good. My only thing, and, this is just me, wanting more, I guess you could say, my complaint is, that when the beat switch does happen, I do wish, Chris Brown would have did something with the beat switch. He kind of just goes back to the original beat and just kind of does the hook again. So let's talk about the beginning verse. The beginning verse from Chris Brown, I'd say it's okay. I'd say vocals are pretty good. I'm liking the singing here. I'm liking the flow. My overall thing, though, is that he just kind of lets the beat play out, which, I guess, it's kind of like a Playboy Cardi thing, let the instrumental play out. But honestly, I'm not coming here for fucking Playboy Cardi. So I was expecting Chris Brown maybe to fucking sing a little bit more on here. He kind of just, it does a little bit of a couple of lines, and then he kind of, pauses and lets the beat play out, just lets the background go crazy. And then he picks it up with the hook. And the Call Your Name hook, I'd say is, it's okay. It's not my favorite, off this album. Definitely not my favorite from Chris Brown. He kind of just says call your name, and then that's just kind of it. There's just not really nothing. There's no vocal switch ups. There's no flow switch ups. The only thing I could say is that he kind of just, stops and lets the beat fucking play out. So Chris Brown honestly doesn't do a whole lot on here. He only does a fucking hook. And the verse he does have is like 5 seconds, 10 seconds long at max because it's just a whole moment where he's just, pausing and letting the beat just play out. So there's weirdly not enough Chris Brown on his own Chris Brown song, which is kind of funny to me. But anyways, we got Sexy Red on here, and I'd say Sexy Red did her thing on here. The flow was pretty good, the rapping was pretty good. I do like the melodic beat switch up and flow switch up and vocal switch up she does do. Sounds pretty good. Then GloRilla comes in here, and I'd say GloRilla sounds her best. When the beat is going fucking crazy. The 808s are absolutely booming, and GloRilla's coming in with that nice flow. I'd say GloRilla had a pretty good rap verse on here. My only thing is that, then the beat just kind of plays out for like a whole ass minute and then the song is over. So this song suffers, in my opinion, from being just a little too empty. And that's my really big complaint is that the song, even though it's got all these cool ass beat switches, it's got this cool sample in the background. When you're not really doing nothing with it, when you're just kind of, letting the, atmosphere kind of take control, you ruin the chance of, making your song sound empty, making it sound a little bit generic, just kind of, not adding anything to it. So that's my only real big complaint is that this song just kind of sounds empty. So overall, I'm just gonna give this song an easy 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10, guys. What y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications. Also, let you have a good one. Yeah, guys. Bye.